What is up, guys, and welcome to the South Coast. On today's video, we're using this submersible utility pump and some vinegar to do a yearly maintenance on a tankless water heater. Let's get into it. All right, guys, so like I said, we're going to be doing the yearly maintenance on this tankless water heater. This is a Rinnai model. The maintenance is similar on most of these tankless water heaters. About every year or so, it's a good idea to hook them up to a pump, circulate some vinegar or some other cleaning solution through them. They make cleaning solutions specific for descaling these tankless water heaters. Today we're just going to use some vinegar, dilute it with a little bit of water, and run it through there. But they say to do this about every 12 months or so. It's been a little bit over 12 months since we've moved into the house and we've been using this water heater. So this is the first time I'm doing this servicing. Probably have gone a bit longer than I should have, but we're going to get it done today. So let's take this cover off. I'll show you the valve setup on the water heater, and then show you how we get it hooked up to the pump and get it circulating. All right, guys, now that we got that cover off, pulled that insulation back a little bit, show you what we're working with here. So you have the inlet to the water heater. That's this line right here. This comes from the water supply to the house. It has an isolation valve before it goes into the water heater. And then you have this valve that goes over. It isolates this connection for, basically it's a garden hose thread. Also works for washing machine hoses, which is what we're going to use today. And then same thing on the outlet. You have your hot coming out, going to the house with its isolation valve, and then an isolation valve for this water hose hookup here. I'm going to see if I can get the hoses on without taking this cover off. Hopefully I can. So I'll get you set up. We'll get all these valves configured. One note, you want to turn off the gas supply to the water heater. You don't want the gas kicking on and heating up as you're circulating the vinegar through here. So we'll get you set up. We'll try and get all these connections made, get the valves configured, and then we'll start circulating. All right, guys, this is the pump I got. It is a 6699 submersible utility pump, 1/6 horsepower. Everything I've seen online, all the research I've done says you don't really want to go above 1/6 horsepower for circulating through these water heaters. You don't want too much pressure going through them. So let's get this thing unwrapped. I'm going to have Amazon affiliate links for the pump and the hoses, as well as an option for vinegar. Those links are going to be the same price for you, but they give me a little bit of a kickback and help me continue to make videos and keep the channel going. So this comes with some fittings. I think this is the one we're going to put on the pump to hook up our hose. It's already got a washer in it. It also comes with this fitting for just hooking up a piece of tubing if you need to use this pump for anything else. I'm going to dedicate this pump to doing this one job just so I don't contaminate it. You don't want to be running dirty water or anything, dirty pump stuff through your water heater. Want this to be as clean as possible. So it has this little tag on it. Gives you a little diagram of how to hook it up. Also has instructions in there as well. Alright, so we'll set all of this over to the side. Get our fitting, make sure that gasket's in there. Thread that on there like that. Make sure it's good and snug. Drop that in the bucket. And this is the cold side hose that goes to the water heater. I'm going to put this on that pump outlet. Make sure it's good and snug. All right, now we're going to drop the hot end, the hose that comes back out of the water heater. That just goes in the bucket So we're going to return the water through the water heater back into the bucket and allow it to circulate. By water I mean vinegar, the liquid. So we'll get this vinegar open. This is cleaning vinegar, which is a 6% vinegar. So I'm going to put a gallon of vinegar in and then add a bit of water to dilute it down. All right, so that's 1 gallon of vinegar. I'm going to go ahead and just use the gallon jug to approximate a 1/4 gallon of water. So adding a gallon of 6% vinegar, a quart of water should knock it down to around that 5% vinegar concentration. All right, we'll add this in there. May have been a little bit too much water, but that's all right. So now we will turn this pump on. All you do is plug it in. So I'm going to pull this over, get it plugged in, and we're going to let it circulate for about 45 minutes to an hour. All right, well, it took a little while for the pump to get primed and fill up the system, but now it's circulating. You can already see it's sort of dirtying up this mixture. And after the big mess we made by me being an idiot, we lost a bunch of our liquid. So I'm gonna add my 2nd gallon of vinegar in here and add some more water and let it keep going. All right, got a good mixture in there. Should be around 5% vinegar. It's good to go. We're going to let it sit and circulate for about 45 minutes to an hour. We'll come back, we'll see how this water looks, and get everything disconnected and reconfigured for operation. All right, we've been circulating for right at 45 minutes, maybe just a little bit over. I'm going to go ahead and unplug the pump, and then we'll get everything disconnected. You can hear the water heater beeping. That's just because it's seeing water flow but not seeing the temperature come up because the gas is turned off. So you'll probably get some sort of alarm or warning or something like that on your water heater, but should be fine. Definitely look at the user manual for your own water heater. Make sure there's nothing else you got to do. Some of these things are different. So at this point, we're going to unplug the pump. We're going to disconnect the cold side, and then we're going to flow some fresh water through it out of this hot side hose, and just let it flow out. Make sure we clean all that vinegar out before we send water back through the house. All right, so we're going to hook this hose up to the garden hose. So just sort of be like a pre-wash. Still got it connected up. And we are going to turn on this hose. It's going to circulate fresh water through the water heater and out of the hot water hose. All right, that's pretty good there. So now we'll leave the hot water hose on. We'll get the cold water disconnected. and then we'll circulate from the cold water supply through the water heater. Now, should be able to open up the cold water supply valve and spray some more water out, like so. Yeah. All right, so now we're spraying water from the cold water supply to the water heater, through the coil in the water heater, and out the hot water side. The hot water ISO going to the house is still closed. We're gonna flow for a few minutes like this, make sure we got all that vinegar mixture out of there, because that's not something that we want to be sending downstream of the water heater. All right, guys, now that we've circulated a bunch of water through there before going to the house, we'll go ahead and get this hot hose disconnected. We got the valve closed to this hose. We opened up the valve to supply the house with hot water, so all of our water valves are back in configuration to supply hot water to the house. I also got the gas valve turned back on. We got this hose disconnected, and then go check out, we'll go turn on one of the hot taps. I got a hot hose spigot here next to me. We'll turn it on, make sure that the water heater kicks on, make sure that the burner turns on how it's supposed to now that we got the gas turned back on, and we'll flow some hot water, make sure everything looks good. All right, guys, we're definitely getting hot water coming out of the hose. The burner sounds like it's on and running. Getting a little bit of warm exhaust coming out of the exhaust right there. So, say everything's back online, everything's ready to go. Just got to put this cover back on, and we'll finish this one up. All right, guys, just taking a quick look at the solution that we were left with in the bucket. There's sort of a film of stuff, scum, whatever it is, sort of at the top of the water level. There's also a bunch of black and brown particulate down in the bottom of the bucket. And then this is what's interesting to me. The color of this liquid has changed. So when we first put it in here, it was nice and clear vinegar, clear water. Circulated it. When we started circulating, there's a bunch of brown in there. But that has since cleared up over the 45 minutes of circulating, and it's this sort of nice blue color. I'm sure there's some sort of chemistry explanation for that, with the copper and stuff in the coil, the heating coil of the water heater, but I thought it was interesting. A lot more sediment in there than I thought I was going to get, so good to see that this process has worked. I'm going to dump this out on some weeds that I need to kill, then we'll get the bucket rinsed out. All right, we got that bucket cleaned out and full of water. We're going to use that water here in a moment. Let's get this pump hosed off. All right, I'm actually going to hook this cold water hose back up to the pump before we plug it in, because what I learned earlier is that this pump puts out pretty good pressure. So we got the pump fully submerged in a 5-gallon bucket. Get it plugged in. Basically, I'm just going to let the pump all the water out of this bucket. We'll unplug it, And we'll call that good for cleaning out the pump. All right, just like that, after a couple minutes, pump 5 gallon. I don't even know if it was a couple minutes. After a little bit of time, we got 5 gallons of water pumped out. We got a clean bucket, clean pump, clean hoses. We'll go put this in the garage so it can all dry out. Be ready for next time. All right, guys, well, that is going to wrap this video up. Pretty simple process. Do some research on your particular water heater. Make sure you're doing it the right way. But overall, should be about the same for all the different tankless water heaters out there. You want to make sure that gas is off so you're not heating up this liquid as it's going through there. Naturally, it will heat up as it's going through the pump and recycling through the bucket, especially here on the South Coast where it's hot outside. Here in the summer afternoon, that water or that mixture did heat up as it was circulating, but you want to turn that gas off or kill the power to your water heater, depending on if it's gas or electric heat. Basically, you don't want the water heater turning on to heat that liquid as it's being circulated through the coil. Make sure you're doing it for the right amount of time. Make sure you're using the right concentration of vinegar. Cleaning vinegar is a 6% vinegar solution. Normal cooking white vinegar is a 5% solution, so that's why I diluted it down. I didn't want to run any super high concentrated vinegar through the coil. It's not meant for that. High concentrations of vinegar will eat up the metal of the coil. So make sure you're using an appropriate concentration of vinegar. Again, your water heater company may have recommendations on that. And then let it circulate for 45 minutes to an hour. Not a real exact science there, but make sure you got some good time for it to circulate. Make sure you plan time where you're not going to be using hot water in the house so you can get this job done. Let your family know that there's not going to be hot water available. You don't want anybody thinking they're going to hop into a shower, end up not getting hot water. Nobody wants that. So make sure everybody's on board before you start this project. And then when you're done, make sure everything's cleaned out. Flush that coil with good fresh water. Flush your hoses with fresh water. Flush your pump with fresh water. You don't want to put any of this stuff away with that acidic vinegar mixture on it to where it'll get eaten up by the time you come to use it again next time. So I think that's it for this video. If you liked it, hit that thumbs up. If you got any questions, comments, anything like that, drop them down in the comment section. Click that subscribe button if you haven't already. And as always, I hope y'all have a good one. Catch you next time down here on the South Coast.